Hey, good afternoon, future generations. What's up? Coming at you from inside. It's super hot outside here in Maine, and I've been outside this whole time, and I like being inside. There's a little bit of AC going, keeping things pretty mellow. Yesterday's hike was pretty crazy, and I don't think I commented on this yesterday, and even though I rambled on for like 10 minutes, but it was about 4 miles in the first two. It was out and back, basically the same route. But the first 2 miles were like just straight uphill, right? Get to the top, and at the top, we could literally see the storms coming in. It starts raining, and we're at the top of this fire tower, like full on like iron rod beacon at the top of this hill on the top of Mount Kineo. And just praying that there's no lightning. But on the way down, I wanted to take the Indian Trail down, which is the tougher route. And I wanted to shoot that video because of the view and because of just, I didn't know if I was going to be able to, I didn't know where I was going to be able to upload it, et cetera, et cetera. And so the point is, on my way down, I did not even talk about this, but this warrior mom on the way up with 2 kids that are probably teenagers or so, and a baby in a carrier, and like just trekked that hike like it was nothing. And we were talking to her, and she was just like, you know, this baby's been everywhere. He's been on so many different hikes and has been like, and right now in Maine, in the state of Maine, I think all the state park fees are actually waived for some reason or another. And it basically, his baby's been everywhere. And I was just commenting on how amazing that is, because oftentimes, you know, there's a whole host of things that we see in the office that moms go through in the postpartum period, and they're all super valuable and should be honored and just paid attention to. But this mom was just trumping all of them, you know, 3rd child, carrier, 2-mile trek, super hot, middle of the rain, and this baby is just loving it. It was really, really cool to see. Anyways, I thought I'd make a comment on that. That's something that I was like, right after I shot that video, when I shot that video, or right before I shot that video because on the way down, I was just like, man, I was super inspired by her, just because she was just super awesome, nature-based mom. And so today's question comes from the one and only Dr. Kaitlyn Shikada, this super inspired brand new grad from Life West, apparently, which I didn't know at the time. She's not a big, she didn't brag about it at all, but the valedictorian of her class. But she asks if I have a specific morning and or evening routine. And the reason why this is an important question is hygiene. I think I talked about this last time. Hygiene at the end of your day is super important, but the hygiene at the beginning of your day is super important. And so, a morning routine, I think I've had probably since I got out of the Army, since 2005. And it's varied in names. Called it the Holy Hour, called it the Morning Power Hour, called it the Morning Routine. And right now, I think it's just another evolution of it. And so absolutely I do. And the evening routine, I talked and shared a little bit about it last time. And so I don't know if I'll go into that as much today, but the point and the lesson, all of it, is that the morning and the evening routine are essentially how you generate and regenerate power, right? And so we talk about this a lot in healthcare. We talk about it specifically in holistic healthcare. We talk about this a lot in the natural birthing world, where a lot of times power is literally stripped from moms. We just did a session on this in the office during our FG Connect group, and we talked about this in our Pathways, on our Current Pathways magazine. It's either current or last one, I can't remember. I think we might have just switched over, but it's one of the titles of the articles is the 5 ways moms give up their power in healthcare settings, right? And so I'll post a link to that article under this so that you have some reference to that. And if you have the inclination, please join us in our FG Connect groups. They're usually the first Tuesday of every month, I believe at 11 a.m. pretty sure it's 11, might be 10. We'll post a link to our next one also. But we cover topics like this, and I'm happy to talk about this now. So chiropractic. Chiropractic is super important. Chiropractic is essentially about the function of the nervous system, right? The brain's connected to the body through the spinal cord. The only system that's completely surrounded by bone is the brain and spinal cord, right? The primary role of the spine is to safeguard that actual connection, that's super, super delicate tissue, that is your neurology, right? And so, in a very simplistic manner, gravity, people ask all the time, does chiropractic work? And I've come to the super simplistic conclusion and of course I'm biased, and of course I'm a chiropractor, but this is how I explain it now. Like, who needs a chiropractor, right? Why do we see pregnancy? Why do we see babies? Why do we see kids? Why do we see teens? Why do we see adults? Why do we help adults, with their preconception process in terms of their health to have the most successful conception and the healthiest pregnancy? Because we want to prevent unnecessary interventions, and we want parents and moms especially to thrive, right? And at the very nature of it, does chiropractic work? And the basic thing that I say now is, if you have a spine and you live in gravity, then you need a chiropractor. Well, you need somebody to take care of your spine in a specific way, right? To identify areas that need attention, to identify areas that are subluxated, to identify areas that aren't moving well or that might be out of alignment, because it's essentially how we navigate the world, right? And I think I've talked a little bit about this already, but a big part of that is efficiency of energy usage. From the most basic standpoint is holding your body straight and in good posture versus being super crooked and kind of tight is energy draining, right? Is either energy efficient or energy deficient, right? And so from a very objective place in our office, what we do is we try to measure that connection. We measure it through x-rays because we want to see from a physical standpoint how that structure of your body is doing. But we also want to see from an energetic standpoint through a lot of the technology that we use in the office to measure that brain-body connection, right? And we do exams and all sorts of things to actually track that if you are subluxated, how is that subluxation pattern actually affecting the function of your body, right? Because we can tie that function to how your system is thriving or not thriving, right? And so subluxation essentially destroys your body's ability to self-heal, self-adapt, and self-regulate normally. And from a morning and evening routine, right, like the adjustment is so important. The analysis of subluxation and misalignments and areas that aren't moving well in your spine, so important. And those are things that you actually need someone else to do for you. And I would love to be that person, right? And I'd love for all of you who are patients that tune in, I love being that. And I'm kind of very frank about saying that if you live in gravity and you have a spine, you need a chiropractor forever. And I would love to be that person, or at least future generations to be that person, because we are about to hire our first associate, right? But the morning and evening routine, I said it a little bit earlier about generating and regenerating power, are key ways to actually prevent subluxation, right? When your body is unable to adapt to its environment because it's deficient in its energy capacities to actually see, interpret, and respond to the environment, it subluxates, right? And then you need a chiropractor to come in and adjust you. But how you live your life outside of the office determines whether or not you actually need and how often you need to come in, right? Because we'll measure it, we'll do our exams, our scans, x-rays, and actually measure and give you hopefully what we consider one of the most thorough clinical workups from a vitalistic chiropractic perspective. And my morning and evening routine, or at least my morning routine, has 4 areas, right? And The reason why is 4 areas. If you know Dr. Jay Warren, he does Healthy Happy Babies podcast, and he's doing one now that's called The Dadhood Journey. We work together in certain other fields, and in those fields, we're trained in 4 areas and looking at 4 areas in our life, right? Number 1 is your body. Body is a combination of fitness and fuel. Number 2 is your being. Your being is your connection with your higher source, with God, with the universe. I don't like to kind of put on other people like what their faith should be, but I do believe that faith is important, right? Understanding that there is something way greater than ourselves that's out there, right? The other aspect of being is your purpose in life, and having a strong core and a strong purpose. Some people call it a soul purpose, the meaning that you have on your life. Your reason for being. That's the other aspect of being. Balance is your family. It's basically your spouse, right? Your husband, wife, or your posterity, or your kids, right? And right now, I'm not married, but my future my fiance, my future wife, every day, every morning, I do something to pour into her, right? Because if I don't pour into her on a daily basis, then I don't want to complain 6 months down the road, 6 years down the road, 6 decades down the road that I'm not in a good relationship, right? But your posterity is your kids, and actually doing things for your kids in the morning, right? And I don't have kids yet. We don't have kids yet. But if my sister watches this, she knows that she gets a message from me every morning, and she's got it for about the past 2 weeks. And before that, I sent a message to my brother every morning, right? And so the last aspect is business and leadership, right? So we use the word business because most of us are business people, but I think leadership is the other aspect to it, right? The leadership in how you live your life, or how you lead your life, right? I think I've been in leadership basically since I left home 2 weeks after high school graduation. And leadership has been something at the forefront of my just adult life. And it's something that will go with me to the rest of my days. It's something that I cannot extract about how I live on a daily basis, right? And so let's go over those again. Body, fitness and fuel. Being, your higher purpose, your connection to the higher source, and your purpose in life. Balance is your wife and husband, or your kids, right? And business / leadership on my end is how I grow this future generations thing that I've been at work with for a lot of years, right? And how much I tend to it and cultivate it, because it's something that I deeply love, and it's something that people invest in, and I always am interested in everybody's value exchange. I want to make sure that I'm giving everybody the best that we have, and they're getting hopefully an enormous exchange, right? The money that they put down is small compared to what they get, right? And what they get in the services that we provide, and the results that we know that we see in the office, we're actually very intentional about, right? And the other aspects is finances, and we don't have to necessarily go through that right now. The business, the two aspects of it are discover, in terms of learning, right? And leadership in terms of learning and taking in, and declare. And the other aspect of declare means that teach someone, right? As soon as you teach someone, you own it. You own it more, right? Than actually just reading, okay? And so my routine is super simple. I'm going to post that too. And don't get discouraged, because I have been working at this for 13 years, and I am absolutely insane, and I know it, right? So I wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. Every morning I wake up and I go downstairs. I turn on the hot water. And I prep 2 cups of tea, because I found that it's as easy to make 2 cups of tea as it is to make 1 cup of tea. And if I can make 2 cups of tea, I can easily take one upstairs at the end of my power hour and give it to my future wife, right? And do I do that every morning? I actually do. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a master of routine. And I like she actually just told me the other day, maybe you can stop bringing me tea, or maybe change up the recipe a little bit. And I was like, okay. And I did, right? Because I'm kind of a repetitious type person, right? The next thing I do is I go downstairs and I go through either one of my fitness routines, right? The ones that I think I posted previously or talked about previously, the one that's for movement and malleability, the 10 sun salutations, and the birth fit squat progression, the functional progressions in the birth fit squat therapy, right? That's one arm of what I would do. Or if I'm feeling like I need more resistance training, I'll do that stack of push-ups, pull-ups, and air squats because I feel like I need more resistance training, right? Both of them take me between like 6 or 7 minutes or so. After that, I go upstairs and I take a cold shower because cold showers tend to prime your mitochondria and build your energy sources and things like that. After that, I will sit down and I'll journal, right? In terms of being, the two aspects of that are memoirs and our meditation and memoirs, right? Before the shower, I'm outside or out on our little patio and I'll do about a 6-minute meditation. And that's that core breathing I taught about yesterday, right? And I found out that 3 minutes of that 4-second breath is about 13 breaths. So I think we all have time for about 13 to 26 breaths. I think we could do that in a row, right? And then I'll go upstairs, I'll do the cold shower, and then after that, I write in my journal. And if you look at my journal, this is kind of how it goes, literally every day. And some days I write 1 sentence. Some days I write 1 word. Some days I write 3 pages. But the point is that I write, right? In terms of balance, as soon as I'm done with that, we go into balance. And balance is super simple. I do 2 things. I do 1 message to my fiance, Victoria, or I do 1 message to, right now, it's my sister, Stephanie, right? And either of those messages, they take about 3 to 4 minutes or so because I either shoot a video or I write a message of appreciation, love, or honor. Those 3 things, right? And the caveat behind that, I can write more if you have any questions about that. The caveat behind that is that there's no expectation for return. It's just for me to give. And my suggestion is that you do your partner, right? Your wife or your husband or your partner in life. And then the other aspect, if you don't have kids, I would say choose one of your kids, or choose one of your family members that you're actually trying to work on some things with. And tell them up front that you're just sending them messages. There's no requirement for a reply at all. And the reason is because we tend to do things with condition, right? And this is something that I've learned, that when you do things without condition, then it's pure, right? After that, I'll do some reading. And so right now, while I'm here, I'm rereading The Biology of Belief, specifically one of the last chapters on conscious parenting. I'll try to post. I was looking for that online the other day, and I wanted to post that here. But I'll find a way to post that there. But Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief, the last time I read it, actually no, I've read it probably 4 or 5 times, but the first time I read it, I remember exactly when I read it, was first trimester of chiropractic school, and it was during finals. And instead of studying, I actually decided to read Biology of Belief, which is absolutely, unequivocally, easily top 5 books I've read, especially if you're in this realm of personal growth, or if you're in this realm of holistic healing, or if you're in this realm of the body is the power that made the body heals the body, self-healing aspects, self-adapting, self-regulating aspects. There's no better book to read as a foundation for that, right? And he has a whole chapter on conscious parenting, and I'm excited to get dipped back into that, right? But I read for about 5 minutes. And after I read, I take a synopsis or the top thing that I read, and I text it. I text it to a mastermind group. Right now, it's 2 of my friends, which I might tag in this video because they're 2 of my best friends in the world, Dane Farrar and Lauren Kodik. Dane is a brilliant chiropractor in Amsterdam. He's one of my best friends in the world from South Africa. We met in our experience with the World Congress of Chiropractic Students, probably one of the most inspiring groups in the history of chiropractic. I was blessed to be president of that organization for 2 years straight. And Lauren Kodik is the mastermind behind Nikal Chiropractic, Nikal Retreats, Nikal Talks, everything that you're seeing brilliant about women's adjusting seminars, that is Lauren Kodik. And so we have a little mastermind group together, and I send a synopsis to them to everything that I do in that morning, right? So all in all, my morning routine takes me about an hour. And I know that's a lot to ask sometimes. And so I often say, start with two. Start with start with three things. In our office, we gift every one of our patients that signs up for a year-long corrective care program a 5-minute journal. I'll post a link to that as well. 5-minute journal is a gratitude journal. It literally takes 5 minutes. It's a morning entry and an evening entry. I say commit to that. That book, if you complete it, it's 6 months, right? So you commit to doing that. It's 5 minutes, right? You commit to doing some sort of exercise, right? Because it generates power in your body. One generates power in your being in your balance, right? In terms of the and the last part is do a dang green smoothie. I said it. I'm a fan of green smoothies. I think I said in a previous episode that I've used my Vitamix 85-90% of the days that I've owned it. And Cal Jam 11 is coming up in February, and I've been to every single Cal Jam. It's the best natural healthcare seminar in the world. My mentor, Bill DeMoss, is one of the most fired up human beings on the planet. His mission is to save this planet. And I've used my Vitamix 85-90% of my days, right? And every day that I've been here in Maine, I've done a smoothie every day. And so, all in all, that should take you less than half an hour. And I would say that if you can, how you apply this, number one, 5-minute journal. If you need one, order one online. If you want one, pick one up in the office. If you're already one of our patients, you have one. And so let's actually get that going. Number two thing that you can do is set your alarm 30 minutes earlier, right? 30 minutes earlier. And I know not all babies actually understand alarms, but do your best, okay? And then the last aspect is do something physical like we've been talking about, right? I went a little long on this video. I think it's about 20 minutes or so. If you feel inclined, please share it. Super grateful to have this opportunity to spend with you. I think I got a little comfortable in here because it's actually nice and cool. Every other one I was sweating in the sun, except for that first day at Bar Harbor. But thank you all for tuning in, and looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to wrap it all up. I don't have a specific question for tomorrow, but I think I'm going to finish it out I'm going to close it out. I think there's a natural way to close it out. And so looking forward to tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific Standard Time. But thank you all for being here, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you did, please share this video. Thank you.